still not everything.
So I tell you what, with all that being said, you've given us so much information, but I know there's so much more that hopefully I haven't dragged it all out of you. I do want, you to definitely, let everybody know where they can get the additional information with the books, with the YouTube videos, which, by the way, are spectacular. I really enjoyed those. So, definitely great supplement to the books. And I think that, for the people that have been listening to this, and I know there's quite a few, and there will be quite a few on the replays, let them know. Let them know where they can go to find all these things.
There's a website that's called Amazon, and that's the first place, I suppose, to go. It's in the books are called The Unsolved Murder of Adam Walsh. Again, my name is Arthur J. Harris, Jay, and there's a book 1 and a book 2, and there's a combination of, you can buy them both together at a slightly discounted price. There's a short single edition with the compressed edition, which has everything, but it doesn't have anywhere of the detail of the full books. And then there are my other true crime books that are there as well. There are other murder stories where I get go on this path and trying to understand what really happened and get completely obsessed or whatever in those stories. They're all fun too. They're available also at Google Play and Barnes & Noble and Kobo for our Canadian friends and elsewhere, and they're in print as well. And print is the easiest place to buy them in print is from Amazon.
I definitely don't want to wrap this up without asking you the question. If you had your say in the whole thing, what would you like them to do at this point? Like right now, today, what would you like to see happen? Would you like to see the case reopened and them do an actual investigation without?
No, I mean, I'm not really that nuts. I mean, I just don't think that they would ever consider doing a real investigation and just tell them, prove to me that I'm full of it. Just prove to my satisfaction and everyone else's that the information that I have that's all from the public, descended from the public records, is wrong. Now that that all those Dahmer witnesses who were weren't especially talked to very well, or at least not returned to. That they're all 6, 7, 8 of them are not worthy. Each of them, they're either lying or they're making stuff up or they're deluding themselves or whatever it is. And then I got the state police, the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, last year to do an investigation. And of the 2 medical examiners' offices, I said, "No, here are the documents that are not present in this file. Would you please attempt to confirm this for me?" And they did, and they said, "Yep, you're right. They're not there." So that's okay. So I have that, but there is. Let me just drop this one because this would take another hour and 15 minutes if I went further in them. But it's something that you can read about in the books. What happened in 2009 to get me to call the medical examiner's office and ask for their file was someone found me on Facebook and had read some of the stuff I had was up by then on the internet from media that I had done up to then about Jeff Dahmer and the blue van and stuff. And this person says, "I want to congratulate you on that." He was claiming to be Adam Walsh. So, exactly. So I'm like looking at this message and going, okay, what do I do with this? I really don't wish to be hoaxed. I don't know. The letter didn't read like a hoax. And I decided quickly enough, all right, give me your phone number. I'll call you. And I did, and I ended up talking to him for 5 days at length. And they were stomach-churning days because he was talking about torture by Jeff Dahmer, and as a 6-year-old, and the narrowest of escapes, and a lot of things that were not plausible. And at the end of that week, I said to myself, I'm going to prove that you are full of it. I'm going to go to the medical examiner's office, which the year before I had planned to do, and I'm going to look at the identification and prove that that was a good ID in there. Therefore, you can't be Adam Walsh. And guess what I found? I just told you. The ID was really bad. Like, how did this person, he said, the ID is not going to be any good. He says, how did he know that? He wasn't in the case, in the official investigation of the case. How did he know that? And then I had to see if I could prove that this person is Adam Walsh. And I, as you say, I give less than 100% answers. I can't prove. There were a number of ways that I could prove, but I wasn't able to prove. Like, DNA is one thing, but there were problems in matching DNA samples that were unanticipated. There were problems in matching fingerprints that were unanticipated. I made those attempts. But the two people who I matched him with on the phone and in person, one, as I mentioned before, was Adam's last, if not first, best friend, who had, seen him, and they were teammates on that t-ball team. They were actually very close friends. I put them together, and then I put him together on the phone with the man who'd been Dahmer's roommate, who had been tortured horrendously, see if this guy is making this stuff up, or he's picked it up from reading. Your experience is the most remarkable one, of being intimate with Dahmer in the worst sense. And he came back and said, I can't tell you he's Adam Walsh, but his story about being tortured by Dahmer is absolutely true. Says he knows all of these things that no one else knows. And you couldn't know unless you had that sort of experience and lengthy experience with Dahmer, and the tics and the things he'd say, and how he'd lurch at him, and how he changed from Jekyll to Hyde and back to Jekyll, and all of these things in details. It was a this guy was they both re-traumatized each other in their conversations. The guy who was the best friend was not traumatic at all. There were the instructions were, this is not about how much you remember of Adam Walsh. This is whether this guy says he's Adam Walsh knows anything about you. And it was 30 years earlier, but the descriptions of the best friend were right there. A lot of the things they did together were there, and there were a couple of specifics that, again, there was no way to research this. There was nothing that best friend had never put on the internet to then that he had been friends with Adam Walsh. So you couldn't research that. This is just stuff that you and your friend when you were 6 years old would have known. That's it. And this guy knew it. Now, there were lots of other things in the story that just were impossible to check, or just sounded really screwy. Those two things were really strong. And then, if you, like you said, if I want something to be done in this case, it is for the police. Police actually did spend an hour with this man. They didn't take a DNA sample. They didn't take his fingerprints. So they never followed up with him. They weren't nasty to him. They were pleasant, no, and they did nothing, which is pretty much what I expected. And he's tried to reach the Walsh family, and that has failed. No, nobody in the Walsh family has responded to him. And then he kind of, after 5-6 years, it's not that he gave up. It's just that he just stopped the process of trying. And I published his story in length. It's in the second book, and that's the really remarkable thing in this. It's could Adam Walsh be alive? He's living under a different name for sure, completely different family. And what was already a totally weird story, does this knock it out of the park even further, that it's that crazy? So I've been making this attempt to see how far could I get in proving that he is or proving that he isn't. And I have for all this time I've been on I really think he is, but I can't be any more definitive than that.
I have to tell you, this was I
more
guess,
than you thought.
Well, it was an amazing way to end off this thing. I'm telling you. And you were concerned that you wouldn't be able to go an hour and a half. That was the easiest hour and a half I've ever done.
I was concerned that I wouldn't be able to stop at an hour and a half.
Well, you know what? I can totally understand that, because I can tell you could fill up hours and hours with this. Everybody would just be enthralled.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, literally, it was completely awesome. If there's anything else you want to throw out before you head out, go for it. If not, seriously, it was my pleasure to have you on.
You're welcome. No, it's fun. It's fun having a great conversation with somebody, and it was. This is of all the true crimes that I've done. This was the peak. And I'm still working on it. There's still more. You can't get to the bottom of these things. There is no actual bottom. You can keep digging, but this is still one that doesn't have a good resolution, because this is not accepted. I'm still fighting to have this information accepted for what it is. Or again, tell me that the whole thing, I'm completely full of it, and all the evidence that I got from the public record and everything that people told me is all adds up to nothing at all. Tell me that, but nobody has. They'll dismiss it, but they won't. But nobody is able to go any piece at all and say that piece isn't true. No, this is flawed. No one. And I challenge anybody, please, tell me, show me where I'm wrong. I'm more than willing to hear that. And if I agree with you, then we'll say, okay, well, you know what, I'm wrong for this reason, and you're right, and then I'll either rewrite it or stuff or whatever. This has been years and years of this case kept changing on me, and it very well may be changing again. I consider and actually hope.
Fight facts with facts is what I guess it sounds like what you're looking for. So, and I thought you wanted to talk more about Dahmer, so I gave you all that Dahmer stuff. Well, and it was great, but there was so much more, and one of these days, God, and I don't know when, but at some point, I'll probably bug you again and say, you know what, we've got some more to touch on, and it'll be outside the Dahmer conversation. So, you just keep doing what you're doing, and I think anybody that was listening is going to be really paying attention to what you're doing. So, again, thank you so much.